Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. When it comes to what kind of romance you're into, you don't have to choose just one. Fancy a dalliance with a duke, or maybe a steamy billionaire. You could find a book boyfriend in the city and another one tearing it up on the hockey field. And if nothing on this earth satisfies, you can always find love in another realm. Discover modern rom-coms from authors like Lily Chu and Ali Hazelwood, the latest romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, plus Regency favorites like Bridgerton and Outlander. And of course, all the really steamy stuff. Your first great love story is free when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
Further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Off and running, hour number 2 after further review here on a Thursday, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Musso in for Moscona. Moscona's traveling to Nashville, where he'll be doing the show live on Friday from Friends in Low Places, Garth Brooks' bar on Broadway. If you're in Nashville for the LSU Vandy game, get over there, check out Scone for AFR. Jordan Kitchens, Paul O'Neill along for the ride, and we're fired up to have you along for the ride here as well. Great hour number 1 in the books. And, man, I'm really fired up for the rest of the show. We got Best Bets with Lee Sterling coming up to close out this hour. Mike Triplett at the bottom of the third hour to talk all things New Orleans Saints. We'll get into injuries. We'll get into the receiving corps. I really want to ask him about Devon Vele and Chris Olave as well there. And, I mean, maybe a thought or two about the Chicago Bears and Dennis Allen and whatnot. So we still have a bunch to get to. We have to tell you what we're watching this football weekend. So fired up to do all of it and glad to have you here along for the ride. LSU Vanderbilt, 11 a.m., Nashville, Tennessee, Saturday. It says LSU Vanderbilt on the marquee, but boy, this could not be any different than what we've come to expect when it says LSU Vanderbilt on the marquee. This is a Vanderbilt team that is 5-1. This is a Vanderbilt team that is ranked in the top 20. This is a Vanderbilt team that is a 2.5-point home favorite over the LSU Tigers, and that line has not budged one bit. Everyone's been saying it, right? This isn't your father's Vandy. And they're right. Vandy's a really good team. Credit to Clark Lee. They have a dynamic offense. They have a deep, physical defense that is great at rushing the passer. And they're allowing less than 100 yards rushing per game. When you look at a team like LSU, man, that's going to be tough to run the football against given their struggles. All of that on paper, and it goes, man, yeah, Vandy. Makes a lot of sense, right? I'm not there yet. But what I do think is there's one area, one matchup in particular, one moment in this game that will decide it. And that's third down. Because third down in this football game between LSU and Vanderbilt is it's strength against strength. It's also, let me rephrase that. It's strength against strength in terms of LSU's defense versus Vanderbilt's offense. It's weakness against strength in terms of LSU's offense versus Vanderbilt's defense. Y'all, LSU did a lot of good things on offense Saturday night against South Carolina. They did. Did they do a lot of bad? Yeah. And that's why everyone's frustrated, because you know what? You finally moved the ball. You put up 422 yards. You ran for 166. You turned the ball over 3 times. You scored 20 points. It leaves you with that feeling of, man, you finally got that, and here, if it's not one thing, it's the other, right? But you did do good things. The one thing you still struggled with was third down. LSU, for the season, converting 41% on third downs. For a ranking for you there in terms of that has LSU 59th in the country. 41.5% 5-6% of the time, LSU's offense is converting on third down. Against Power 4 competition, that number drops to 29.7%. LSU, to put it bluntly, has been dreadful on third down this year. A lot of that has to do with down and distance. You struggled early on first and second down and left yourself in some very predictable situations on third down. Entering the South Carolina game, LSU's average distance on third down was in between 7 and 8 yards to go. Obvious passing down. You talk a lot about three-man fronts, dropping 8. Well, when you're in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, virtually every time you're out there on the field, that's going to happen. To LSU's credit, against South Carolina, it was much better. 5.1 yards. That was LSU's average distance on third down to go against South Carolina, but you were still 4 out of 11. That tells you this team has to get a hell of a lot better in short yardage. Y'all, LSU on third down and 3 and less. So let's call that short yardage. 3rd and 3 and less against South Carolina was 2 out of 5. You were 40%. You're below 50% on 3rd and 3 or less to go. One of those is at the end of the game at the goal line when you get stuffed and you have to settle for a field goal when you're trying to ice the game and put it away with a touchdown. That has to be better against Vanderbilt. And look, Vandy, they're allowing teams to convert right over 36% on third down, 62nd in the nation. It's not great. It's not horrible. But here's why it's so important. And we said strength on strength with LSU's defense versus Vanderbilt's offense. Weakness on strength with LSU's offense versus Vanderbilt's defense. And that's where you really need to focus in on this. What does Vanderbilt want to do? Vanderbilt wants to control the game. They want to control the clock. It's how they beat Alabama a year ago, and it's a large reason why they lost to Alabama in 2025 is because Bama controlled the tempo of that game, got Vandy off the field on third down, and out time of possession them by about 20 minutes or close to it. Game control offense. Clark Lee has said it all week. That's what Vanderbilt is, and that's what they're after. Don't be fooled. They're dynamic. They can hit the big play. They've got plenty of them. But that's a team that at their core wants to have success on first down and second down, have manageable third downs, and just grind it out, keep the ball. Keep the opponent's offense off the field. That's the best way to limit points, isn't it? So in order to do that, LSU kind of has to play that game back. Would we all love to see LSU go out there, score 40, have big play and explosive after big play after big play? Of course. But you have not seen anything near a consistent sample size this season from LSU's offense that gives you any confidence that they're going to be able to go out there and do that, especially against a really good Vanderbilt defense. And Bama put up 30 points, but they had to grind that thing out in order to do so. So what LSU did well against South Carolina, they put themselves in more manageable down and distance. And you know what? On those 3rd and 3s or less, they mixed it up. There were 3 runs, 2 passes. It wasn't like they were just trying the same thing over again. For what it's worth, the 2 that they got were both runs with Caden Durham. LSU and Vandy want to play the same game. They're 6th and 7th in the league. LSU 6th, Vandy 7th in time of possession. It's what they want to do. It's how LSU's had their success this year. 3rd and short. LSU has got to be better at third down. Because here's the deal. Vanderbilt on offense is elite at this. Vanderbilt is second in the nation in third down conversions offensively. 57% of the time. Second nationally. Because they get themselves in manageable down and distance. Alabama prevented that. Alabama had success on first and second down, and Vanderbilt's average yards to go on third down in Tuscaloosa was 7 yards. And you know what? That was helped out, actually, by a few. They had 3 3rd-and-1s that lowered that average. They faced 11 third downs. 6 of them, so more than half, 10 yards to go, 9 yards to go, 7 yards to go, 10 yards to go, 8 yards to go, 21 yards to go. Alabama got them in predictable down and distance that forced Diego Pavia into some uncomfortable situations. He turned the ball over. That is the formula for LSU's defense. You have to get them in the long down and distance, get them off the field, and when you're on the field, you have got to convert on third down, specifically third and short. And it's not going to be easy because you're going to have to establish a running game and be committed to that. And you're facing a much better rush defense than you did a week ago against South Carolina. But where you can have success is through the air against Vanderbilt. Their secondary lacks a little bit, and you have almost too many weapons on the outside if you're LSU. In fact, you might have too many weapons on the outside if you're LSU. And that is a path for the Tigers on third down in this game. Garrett Nussmeier looked pretty healthy. And when you look at this team a year ago when they were, 60-40 run and pass, LSU was 6th in the nation on third down conversions, 49%, 6th in America, mainly with Garrett Nussmeier slinging it. That was his calling card. That's what everyone pointed to and said, man, that's what Nuss does so well. When the pressure's on him, when everyone in the building knows he's throwing it, he's made the right decision and he can do it. You might need a little bit more of that from him on Saturday. But third down has got to be the be-all, end-all for LSU in this game. You could talk about finishing in the red zone all you want. Yeah, that matters, and you need to do that. You need to stop settling for field goals. But to get down there against this Vandy defense that has been very, very stingy, it's going to take some third down conversions. Keep an eye on that on both sides of the ball, because it is an area where Vanderbilt has a clear advantage over LSU, and when time of possession is going to be so big like it is on Saturday, third down for me is where this game is decided. All right, we're going to grab a break. We're going to come back on the other side. A former member of the New Orleans Saints gave some thoughts on the current situation the team faces earlier on ESPN Radio. We'll let you hear that and kind of react to him as we go along. What to watch still to come. Lee Sterling still to come. We're jam-packed here on a Thursday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 beautiful hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown right there on Bluebonnet. And when it comes to hosting your event, both the Watermark and the Renaissance are perfect. The Watermark is a gorgeous, elegant spot in downtown Baton Rouge. That wedding reception, that smaller gathering, that meeting space, they can do it. They've kept so much of the history and tradition of that iconic building while modernizing it. The Gregory is a great restaurant inside of the Watermark as well. And then, of course, the Renaissance Hotel. Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. It's more modern. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel property at the Renaissance Hotel where they have meeting space that can accommodate up to 500 people, 7,000 square foot of meeting space, perfectly located right off of Bluebonnet and I-10. It's the Watermark and the Renaissance Hotels in Baton Rouge.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
It is my pleasure this week to welcome our new partner on to After Further Review, Our Lady of the Lake. Of course, great partnership as well as the official championship health partner of LSU. When you think who takes care of the LSU athletes, well, it's Our Lady of the Lake and the physicians there. Game-changing care, keeps athletes at their best, builds stronger, healthier Louisiana for all of us at every level. I've told you about my experience throughout my life living in Baton Rouge at Our Lady of the Lake, from volunteering at the Ronald McDonald Playroom to helping raise funds through so many different fundraising efforts for the standalone Children's Hospital to taking my son to see specialists there at Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital, to my own personal health. My GP is Dr. Kurt Chastain with Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health. It's good enough for the LSU athletes. It's good enough for me and you, of course. It's Our Lady of the Lake. You can learn more at ololrmc.com/LSU.
All right, the New Orleans Saints, they'll head up to Chi-Town, face the Bears on Sunday, noon central kickoff there up Soldier Field. We kind of talked about it earlier. There's a lot of storylines, kind of ancillaries of the game, in a sense. Dennis Allen versus the Saints and things of that nature. Obviously, Caleb Williams and Spencer Rattler with their history at Oklahoma. There's plenty to look at. But I think what everyone wants to see in general, is the Saints start again, maybe to take some steps forward. That's something Teron Armstead talked about this morning. He was on Unsportsmanlike on ESPN National Radio, and he talked about a variety of different things around the NFL, but of course spending as much time as he did with the New Orleans Saints, having the success in his career that he did as the left tackle for the New Orleans Saints, that was obviously going to come up. And Armstead is, honestly, if you follow him on social media, he's been commenting on the Saints plenty so far this season. Maybe we'll see if we can get him on the show actually for that. But they asked him about the New Orleans Saints, and Armstead was really optimistic and about one player in particular. Give a listen.
The Saints are in a position of optimism. They feel good about what they have and what they're building, even though you want to win. It's never okay to take a year off from winning. That's the goal. But the way that those guys compete on a weekly basis, no matter who the opponent is, I am super impressed with Spencer Rattler. I think that he is really making his case to be the guy. I want to be the franchise quarterback. He's not a placeholder for Tyler Shug to eventually come into his own or whatever. Spencer Rattler, he is playing the game like he's here to stay. The optimism is there. The cap situation is a lot different in New Orleans. They feel really good about their situation moving forward.
Is the optimism there? It doesn't really feel like the optimism's there. I think the New Orleans Saints have done some really good things at points this year. They're 1-5, and that stinks, but we all knew the record wasn't going to be good. We all knew this is going to be a team, most likely, that is picking in the top 5. And maybe if the Jets and the Titans decide to not be the worst teams in the league, they could sneak in and get the first overall pick. We'll just see. But I think most of us understand it's a certainty the Saints will be in the top 10 in the draft, and it's very, very likely they'll be in the top 5. So the win-loss record is what it is. I agree with Teron Armstead with what he said there, that, you know what, the Saints, they have competed their ass off. Except for when it just snowballed on them completely in Seattle, they have been in every single game they have played. And I think that's what makes it so frustrating, right? Because it's like, man, you're playing a lot of young guys. They're having success. They're taking their lumps, so they're going through growing pains, but you're right there. I think Spencer Rattler has had a really nice season. Spencer Rattler has thrown for 1,200 yards. He's completing almost 69% of his passes. He's thrown 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception. He has done an impeccable job at protecting the football. He has gotten the Saints into the right plays. Remember, that's something that Kellen Moore talked about pretty much ad nauseum throughout training camp, was decisiveness and who can go out there and run the offense. Every time he was asked about the quarterback battle, decisiveness and who runs the offense and it functions at its highest ability. Spencer Rattler's been plenty decisive, and he gets them in and out of the huddle great. And that's only really improving because they've cut down on the penalties a lot. But to say he's put himself in position to be the guy, I'm just not there. While Spencer Rattler has done all the great things that we just talked about, he has not yet shown that he can go and win the football game for you. And it's not all his fault. Look, one of the things that drives me up a wall, and I'm so glad they got that win so everyone can really stop talking about it, is the win-loss record for a quarterback. It's wins and losses are not a quarterback stat. They just aren't. There's too many other things that go into it. For one, the quarterback on the other side could go down and win the game at the end, lead his team on a drive, your defense gives it up. Well, we have to put that as a loss on Spencer Rattler's record, right? It's stupid. It's silly. It's the same thing, with a pitcher. In baseball, wins and loss record for a pitcher really bothers me sometimes too. But Spencer Rattler, in that same vein, hasn't shown that he's the guy that's going to go out there and win you the ballgame. And he's had chances in every single game outside of Seattle to go drive the team down the field and tie or take the lead. And that hasn't happened. And if you're really staking your claim to a franchise quarterback, you have to be able to do that, regardless of what's around you. Take Baker Mayfield, for example. And I understand Baker Mayfield has way more experience as a starting quarterback than Spencer Rattler at this point in his NFL career. I'm not disputing that. I don't think anyone with a brain would dispute that. And that absolutely matters. But the Buccaneers are also a mash unit right now, and they have one loss. And Baker has consistently found a way to will that team down the field. And they have a similar skill set in terms of their ability to extend plays with their legs and things of that nature. I think Rattler lacks a bit of the killer instinct. He's doing everything possible to keep you in games, and that's awesome. You're competing. But at some point, if he really wants to stake his claim to be the franchise quarterback, like this is my job, I don't need you to look anywhere in the draft, he's got to convert late in these ball games. And for him to do that, he's got to have his teammates pick him up a little bit as well. Guys like Chris Olave, you need to get the ball to Devon Vele more. That's baffling to me how underutilized he has been. We're 6 weeks into this thing. If he's not onboarded with that offense yet, then shame on Kellen Moore and that coaching staff. Your defense early in games has been really bad. Late in games, they've been pretty good. That's how you've hung around as well. I think from an optimism standpoint on Spencer Rattler, I'm not where Teron Armstead is. In terms of some of the other young talent, I am. I like what I've seen from Quincy Riley, from Jonas Sanker. I know they had a tough game against the New England Patriots. That's going to happen. One tough game doesn't undo the good that I've seen from those two guys early in this season. I think it's going to be huge to watch them go out there against Chicago and hopefully have a bounce back. That would be fantastic. You got a guy like Jonas Sanker, he's around the football all the time. I think now that you have your offensive line together, I think you really like what you've seen from Kelvin Banks. You've hardly heard his name called. That's perfect. Taliesin Fuaga in his second year, now at right tackle. I think he's done some really nice things. Now you have the line fully back together. Let's see if they can be what everyone thought they could at or during training camp or the start of the season. We'll see. But, I mean, you got 4 first-round draft picks on there, you'd hope, and then a second-rounder in Eric McCoy, who's your best lineman. Hopefully that is there. Kendre Miller, you like what you've seen from him. Alvin Kamara's not going to play for this team forever, right? You finally got Stutzman and those guys in at linebacker. There's plenty to like. So, from a young talent standpoint, yeah, there's optimism there. But I'm much more reserved in my optimism at the quarterback position still for the New Orleans Saints as we stand here on October the 16th, them getting ready to go up and face the Bears in their 7th game of the season. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, Rattler does start to answer some of those questions. And it'd be great to see him do it against the guy he's very familiar with in Dennis Allen and a guy he's very familiar with in Caleb Williams. Excuse me. But only time will tell there. We'll see. 6 games down, got a lot more to go. I do think the Saints have more wins in them, and I do think when you get late in the season, we're going to really be able to point to multiple guys on this team and say, man, that guy really improved. That guy is ready to take the next step maybe in year 2 or year 3 in the NFL. That's what we're playing this out for right now. Because the wins, while there are still some out there, they're going to be few and far in between. All right, we'll get to what to watch here in the next segment. Jordan, Paul, me, what we're watching this football weekend. Before we hit a break, though, a little shout out to a sponsor.
Love telling you about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com. That's Arco Power Systems. We talk about generators a lot in Louisiana, especially all along the Gulf Coast, where we're sort of in this storm belt right here in the Gulf Coast. Well, of course, a lot of people have home standby generators. When we talk about Arco Power Systems, these are not home standby generators. This is industrial generator power. This is for your business. I mean, just think about it. When the power goes out, be it a hurricane, an ice storm, snow like we had last year, power goes out. What do you do with your business? Well, being offline is not an option. That's why you need Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, arco.com. Just look at all the locations. Baton Rouge, Bossier, Harvey, Lake Charles, Mandeville, Mobile, LaPorte, Texas, San Antonio, Little Rock, Houston, Dallas. They're everywhere. So if you're a business and you need standby power for your business, you need Arco Power Systems. ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, arco.com.
All right, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. It's a Thursday edition of AFR presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Musso in for Moscona. Scone's traveling up to Nashville, where he'll be live tomorrow from Friends in Low Places on Broadway, bringing you AFR ahead of LSU and Vanderbilt. On the other side of the break, Jordan, Paul, me, we'll tell you what we're watching this football weekend. Stick around.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Supper Club. You can book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. One of the things about Supper Club that I love is if you want to go to Supper Club and be a baller, you can do it. You want to go to Supper Club and order a $5,000 bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild, you can do it. You want to go have $400 shots of cognac, you can do it. You can have experiences at Supper Club that usually are reserved for Las Vegas and New York and Paris and Abu Dhabi. Like, that's here in Baton Rouge. But the thing you got to remember as well, if you want to go to Supper Club and have the best steak of your life and have a few appetizers, a dessert, bottle of wine, you can do it as affordably as any other restaurant in town. But the experience at Supper Club is unmatched. Introduced open seating at the bar, first come, first serve. So if you knock off of work, you want to head by Supper Club, you can walk in without a reservation, see if you can grab a bar stool or a table by the bar as well. Have a great dinner, maybe cocktail, close some business. Book your reservation, supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalvr.com.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 30 years. Call Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. 888-8888. It's all eights. 888-8888. I don't even need to give you the area code because no matter where you are in the state, it doesn't matter. Just dial 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gordon does an awesome job, man. He's a great person. They've been so invested in our communities with all the charitable and service work that they do. They give back into the communities that they represent, no matter what time of year. If it's the bike giveaway for kids around Christmas time, if it's the laptop giveaway around back to school time, if it's the charitable work they do during October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they're always involved in the community. We tell you all the time, of course, about the G Team and what Gordon's done with NIL and the opportunities that he's afforded student athletes. Just a great, great community partner. If you've been injured, you need representation, go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
All right, rolling along here, a Thursday edition of AFR. Musso in for Moscona. We do it every Thursday around 4:30. Here's what we're watching this football weekend.
Here's what we're watching this football weekend.
Look at that. She copied me. All right, Jordan, why don't you go ahead and get us started here?
All right, give me 1 second. Okay, so what I'm watching today, well, not today, this weekend, obviously, not today. My number one game would have to be the Spencer Rattler, Caleb Williams revenge game.
Paul?
Yeah, when I'm watching in the NFL, it's not so much the game, it's more of a return. Mike Vrabel goes back to Tennessee for the first time since being fired. The New England Patriots are pretty much a surprise team right now. So Mike Vrabel going back to Tennessee. Drake May looks like they might have hit on the quarterback, so we'll see what they do.
Yeah, I kind of tipped this off that I was going to do this on Monday when we were doing college football takeaways. I'm on Billy Napier watch, and now even more after the report from USA Today that it's likely Saturday's his last game. It makes a lot of sense, man. I mean, you're heading into the bye week. It gives you a chance to get your ducks in a row. Let's keep an eye on Billy Napier and his job status in Florida.
All right, my next one would have to be Ole Miss versus Georgia. I'm just rooting on the downfall of Ole Miss. So
yes.
I'm going with the Dogs to just beat their heads in any type of fashion. That's what I need desperately.
7.5-point favorite, Georgia, in that game, too.
That line's a little That's a little tricky line.
That is. We will get Lee Sterling's opinion on that here in the next segment.
Another one I'm watching in the NFL, the Eagles and the Vikings. The Eagles are on a 2-game losing streak. They got smoked by the Giants on Thursday night. Carson Wentz could potentially be going up against his former team as J.J. McCarthy's still hurt. Yeah. Can the Eagles bounce back?
Looks like they miss Kellen Moore calling plays a little bit up there in Philly.
Yep.
USC and Notre Dame, 6:30 on NBC and Peacock. Notre Dame's a 9.5-point favorite in this. This goes a long way for their college football playoff hopes. If the Irish want to get in as an at-large 2-loss team, they need this win over USC. Same for USC at 5-1. Playoff implications abound here. Keep in mind, though, the Trojans, much better at home than having to travel all the way across the country to South Bend. We'll see if Notre Dame can get it done on Saturday night in primetime up in South Bend.
And my last one would have to be Alabama versus Tennessee. You know, we thought the funeral of Alabama was week 1, and they have slowly come back alive. And so this is going to be a spot where is Alabama for real, or, is Tennessee going to – I think Tennessee did beat them last year. So
they did?
Yeah, they beat them last year, but still, this is a position where Tennessee could get knocked out the playoffs, and Bama for real. So that's my last game to watch.
Tennessee's won 2 out of the last 3 in that matchup.
Oh, even better.
One of the bigger surprise teams in the NFL, you mentioned it with Darren Teakin. The Indianapolis Colts and Danny Dimes.
Yeah, bro,
They're going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. If you would have asked me at the beginning of the season, the Colts and the Bucs would have the best records in the NFL through, 6-7 weeks?
So this is week 7.
Yeah. Colts and Bucs, best records in the NFL.
We'll see what happens with the Colts. They haven't really played anybody yet. Right. Their schedule's terrible. But Danny Dimes, man, I mean, change of scenery? Is it all that?
You took the words out of my mouth. Change of scenery changes everything, doesn't it?
It really, really does. They've been intriguing. Falcons-Niners. This is Sunday Night Football this week. Michael Penix, after the Falcons upset the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football, said a win like that shows that they're here to stay. Well, okay, are you? Because now on a short week, you'll travel across the country, out to the Bay Area to face the Niners, who admittedly are banged up. We'll see how things go really on their injury report. But, man, Mac Jones has filled in quite nicely for Brock Purdy there. They could be getting George Kittle back this week as well. Obviously, there'll be no Fred Warner. But are you for real, new Atlanta Falcons? Michael Penix thinks so. This is a big opportunity to prove it. And, of course, San Francisco in a tightly contested battle out there in the NFC West with the Rams. Big game for them as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. There you have it. That is what we're watching this football weekend. We'll obviously recap that for you with what we learned later on next week on Monday. All right. We have to grab a break. We will come back on the other side and get Lee Sterling's best bets. Lee has been pretty hot. 3-1-1 a week ago for Lee Sterling. He's got what looks like 6 plays here for this week as well, including LSU, Vanderbilt, including Ole Miss and Georgia. He's got all the top games. And, of course, we'll tell you how to get involved with the service over there at Paramount Sports here on the other side as well. Lee Sterling, his best bets. That's next on AFR.
After further review.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I love sharing 5-star Google reviews. Here's one from Ricky Gomez, who said Chris, his technician, was very professional and knowledgeable during the HVAC evaluation. He provided details and recommendations in a clear and concise manner. That's one of the things that always stands out. If you're having an issue with your AC or your heater, and River City's 1 Hour Air sends out a technician for an evaluation, they're going to explain your options to you. And that may sound simple, but none of it, I don't know anything about an HVAC, neither do you. Let's be honest. So whenever they go get up in your attic or they go look at your HVAC unit on the side of your house and they come talk to you, they're going to explain very clearly what's happening and your options to remedy it. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Place your bets, gentlemen.
It's time to head to the window.
Don't gamble it all in one place.
This is Lee Sterling's Best Bets, brought to you by Paramount Sports.
Yes, indeed. And we welcome in the very profitable Lee Sterling. 3-1-1 a week ago. Been a string of one-loss weeks. He's making you a lot of money over at Paramount Sports and right here on AFR. Lee, appreciate the time. How are you?
I'm good. It's crazy. We're middle of the season in, and coaches are getting fired already. We might end up with 30 coaches going down this year. It's crazy with all this money. They expect results right away. We could even. I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets also fire their head coach. He doesn't make it to the end of the year.
Man, how about in college football, Lee? They did not have one Power 4 coach fired a year ago in college football. Now look how many you've had this year. It's been crazy, man, for sure. We got a great slate of games though, especially in the SEC. Let's start with the one that maybe not be the best. That's Texas heading on the road to Kentucky. The Longhorns are a 12-point favorite. They're coming off the big win over Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout. How do you see that one playing out?
Yeah, they're at a crossroads here. Are they going to be able to build on this momentum, or they're going to go back to having a lot of questions being asked? So, special teams played a big part in that game last week. The punt return for a touchdown, but their offensive line finally started blocking them much better. I thought that was the first time the Oklahoma State defensive front seven had been, I wouldn't say dominated, but they were able to find some weaknesses here. Kentucky's playing a lot of young players. I mean, their quarterback, Belay, he just doesn't get the job done. He'll make a good throw and then follow it up with two bad ones. So they're in trouble. Who knows? I think there's a good chance Mark Stoops doesn't make it to the finish line either. I like Texas here, 38-17.
Texas with the win and the cover. Texas A&M, Lee, they look like the most complete team potentially in the SEC. Maybe a 1B potentially right now to Alabama. They travel up to Fayetteville. This game's normally played in Jerrywell, but it's in Fayetteville this year, and it's always wacky. The Aggies, 7.5-point road favorites. Do they make it through and come into Baton Rouge undefeated next week?
Oh, we'll check whether weather could be a factor here. It's one of the things you got to also check each week here. And you got the Fighting Petrinos here. Look pretty good, much better last week, but it's tough for them. They're an equal opportunity defense. They ranked 115th against the run and 115th against the pass. Haven't seen that in a long time. So just not getting turnovers here. And usually when there's bad field conditions, that's when I've seen this team at their worst. Texas A&M defense ranks 22nd against the run, 39th against the pass. You're right. No real weakness that you can point to that's going to be a problem. Now they're down one of their running backs, but they go three deep there, and I think the receiver is going to make plays and make this Arkansas secondary pay here. Sometimes you got to lay it, even if you want to play it on the road. Texas A&M 37-27.
All right. Texas A&M, Lee's on them. Third Saturday in October, Lee. Tennessee has won 2 out of the last 3 in this matchup, but both of those wins came in Knoxville. They go to Tuscaloosa this weekend, where the Tide are an 8-point favorite.
Yeah, and the Tide, as we've talked about the last couple of weeks, really starting to put it together. Like what they're doing. Volunteers have been one of the best rushing offenses in the nation, averaging 210 rushing yards per game. But they're going to have to get the ball to Chris Brazzell. And I just think that Alabama's good at taking your best weapon away. So last week, they wanted to take away, obviously, the passing game. They were able to do that the week before Vanderbilt and their dual-threat quarterback. So they've seen this offense enough here. And on top of that, just think that you're going to see them be able to hit on plays here. I don't think Tennessee has the DBs. If you cover one, you got 2 others that are going to be open here. I like them at home here, 37-24.
Let's head up to Athens. This one might be the most intriguing of the weekend, Lee. The line especially. Ole Miss, undefeated. They stubbed their toe a little bit, slept walk against Washington State. Obviously, we know the controversy that ensued with Georgia and Auburn, but the Dogs got out of there with the win and the cover. They welcome in Ole Miss. Revenge spot, 7.5, depending on where you shop. Is this too big of a number?
You know, what's interesting about this game, if Ole Miss blows out Washington State, and I think they were sleepwalking through that game, and if Georgia loses, I think this line's sitting at like 2.5 Georgia. So I think there's a lot of value here with Ole Miss. Used to be, there were 3 or 4 guys on the Georgia defense I feared. You had to know where they were every play. Not anymore. A lot of just pretty good guys here. And I think Rebel quarterback Trinidad Chambliss, even though it's his first road game, even if he throws an interception, I don't think it's going to phase this kid. So I think that Ole Miss was looking ahead last week, and I just think that, Georgia faced the 2 worst offenses in the SEC the last 2 weeks in Auburn and Kentucky, and any decent coach and quarterback would have pulled that team together and not folded up tent like Auburn did last week here. I think the right team is favored. Ole Miss straight up 27-24.
How about that? The Rebels straight up to get to 7-0. Lee Sterling handing out the upset at Paramount Sports, where you can get him on Twitter X. We'll tell you about how to get involved with Paramount Sports here in a moment. But Lee, the one everyone's watching here, LSU, Vanderbilt. Tigers head up to Nashville, where they are a 2.5-point road dog. Vanderbilt is a favorite over a top 10 team right now. It's also Vanderbilt's first SEC home game of the year, which is wild.
Yep.
Make sense of it for everybody, Lee.
Yeah, so obviously we know now that the LSU offense is probably not going to explode all of a sudden. But all they need to do is win. They're getting 2.5 points here. Aaron Anderson scheduled to be back for this game, and paired with tight end Trudez Green. I think it's going to create some problems here for Vanderbilt. I think their linebackers making plays in space and really limiting Pavia, what he does running the football, could be a factor. The defense has been rock solid, giving up 10 points or less in 5 of 6 games, and defense usually travels, allowing just 3.2 yards per carry. You know what? Again, the wrong team is favored. LSU pulls off the small upset here, 26-20.
That's music to a lot of people's ears here. There's some apprehension around this game this time around. It might say LSU Vandy on the marquee, Lee, but it doesn't feel like a normal LSU Vandy game. Paramount Sports, I see Bears Saints. That's your game of the week over at Paramount Sports. How can everyone get involved?
Just be one of the first 5 callers. Call 800-400-9741. Again, the number 800-400-9741 will give you the Bears and Saints. I think there's a clear right side to this game. 800-400-9741. And how about this? 4 weeks ago in our NFL, we gave out 5 selections. 5 selections, $55. We went 5-0. 3 weeks ago, did it again, 5-0. 2 weeks ago, 5-0. And last week, I let everyone down. I went 4-1. We are on a 19-1 run right now in the NFL. How about this? The new promotion, It's called Lee's NFL Sunday Golden Ticket. 4 weeks, 5 selections every Sunday, just $197. One place, ParamountSports.com.
19-1 in the NFL. What are you waiting for? You know what to do. 800-400-9741. Let Lee pay for everyone's Christmas presents. That's what he's trying to do. Lee, we appreciate the time as always, man. Thank you. We'll do it again next week.
You too. Take care. Be safe.
Absolutely. That is Lee Sterling. Again, 800-400-9741, the number for Paramount Sports. 19-1 in the NFL. You gotta take advantage of that. Guys, I screwed this up. I said we were going to have time for a live read, and now we don't. That's my fault. We'll make him all up. You have my word. Jordan, Paul, I apologize. So we're gonna make sure that
apology
happens.
accepted.
We're gonna make sure that happens. If not, I'll get in trouble. So, yeah, that's my bad. Okay, we're gonna grab a break. Come back on the other side. Saints, Bears, the injury report. It's officially out. We will run through it. What does it mean? We got the participation report for the Saints, but how about for the Bears? We didn't get. We were off air by the time they dropped there. So we'll run through the complete thing next after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. They will always find a way to get you the best possible price for the best possible tires on the road. That's what they do at Shawbills. And when they get you in by selling you the best tires, the cheapest price possible, they're going to treat you like family, and they're going to treat you so good you're going to keep coming back year after year after year every time you need anything for your vehicle. Tires rotated, oil changed, check engine light on, brakes squeaking, whatever's wrong with your vehicle, bring it to Shawbills. Let them give it the once-over, and you can always schedule online, so it's convenient. ShawbillsTire.com. Find the location nearest you at ShawbillsTire.com. Shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card as well, because you can save $50 off your first purchase when you use the Shawbills credit card only at Shawbills.